On June 1st, 1921, the Tulsa, Oklahoma neighborhood known as Greenwood was looted and burned to the ground by a white mob. 35 city blocks were destroyed, and 300 people are believed to have lost their lives. 2 days earlier, an encounter between a black man and a white woman in a downtown elevator sparked a confrontation between whites and blacks, which resulted in the destruction of one of the nation's most successful black neighborhoods, famously known as Black Wall Street. As we approached the 100th anniversary of the massacre, we wanted to meet and hear the voices of those who live and work in the Greenwood neighborhood. With that, we present Greenwood, Here and Now.
I guess first and foremost, Keith, what sort of brought you to the Greenwood area?
Yeah, so initially it was the pricing and location, being downtown and finding a location that was economic. When I moved from 11th and around 169 and 11th Street, I was trying to find something that was really economic, and so Greenwood happened to be one of those places. And then when I moved to Greenwood, I found out there was a bunch of history here, and I just over the course of like a few months before moving and signing my contract to Greenwood, I found out what happened, and it was mind blowing.
Yeah, what was that experience like for you to sort of discover that this had happened in the district? All those many years ago. What was it like for you personally?
Yeah, it was definitely shocking. I come from Detroit, Michigan, so one of my dad's favorite music bands is the Gap Band, and he told me that Gap Band stands for Greenwood, Archer, and Pine, and I didn't know that. And then when he was telling me about one of the songs I grew up listening to, called "You Dropped a Bomb on Me," and I was thinking, no, he told me that this song was inspired by the 1921 massacre, and I didn't know this whole time that a song that I grew up listening to and jamming to was about murder. I thought this was about someone. I was a kid at the time, but I thought this song about being in love or something. I didn't know this actually had some type of symbolism. And so, knowing that this is the history, I mean, it's not really shocking because we honor people like Columbus and other individuals who do such terrible things, and those terrible things are kind of hidden, and so it's somewhat normal, but it's very frustrating to see that even after so many years, the voice of Greenwood is still absent.
Right, and that brings up a point that I definitely wanted to bring up too. Is your thoughts maybe on the current state of things in Greenwood. You talk about the voice being absent, and I want you to hone in on that more. Sort of what you see from it now, and just the relationship between the Greenwood district and Tulsa, maybe the rest of the city, maybe the rest of the state, and sort of where you see it going in the future.
Yeah, so it's so interesting because the point of reference that I have to show the disconnect between how the city looks at Greenwood, the Greenwood area, as far as like being part of the downtown district, is everywhere around downtown is getting renovation. Like the streets are getting renovated, new buildings are sprouting up left and right. However, the Greenwood area, the city has the ability to pump funds into the restoration of the buildings, the street, what to speak of, the scenery, and it's not done. But when the Black Lives Matter was painted on the streets, once the decision was made, it was done. City made sure there was all facility to redo the whole street, and it took a day. And so that demonstrates that if the need was there, or if the importance was there, or the plan was there, then it can be done overnight. But because this is like the redheaded stepchild Greenwood is, it's one of those things that people that get ignored, and until the media brings up the situation, does there get any type of momentum and changes, positive changes being done? So when I remember when the sign was painted, news crews, magazines all over the country came, and there was a lot of the green was generally pretty busy, but it was packed out every day, and most businesses were seeing some type of positive outcome because of such growth, because of the what was happening. And it was, for me, I understood that Tulsa has so much that they need to work on, because most people that live here, I don't know if you live here, but most people that live here did not know about this. And I have people walking across my office, in front of my office, to take pictures of the plaques on the ground. And sometimes I'll catch them before I walk to my office, or I'll catch them walking outside of my office, and they'll ask me about it, and I'll ask where they're from, and they'll say they're from here, and they'll explain that they knew nothing about this situation that happened. And so you have people that are born and raised here in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s that do not know about this, and it's sad. It's literally sad, because this is the trend in America for a long time.
Right, and like you said, you touched on a little bit, asking me like where I'm from. You don't know if I'm from Tulsa. My brother lives in Tulsa. I'm from New Jersey though, and I'm a huge history buff, and I did not figure out about this until I got out here. And the most shocking thing about that was that in my history class, when we learned about this freshman year, the classmates of mine from Oklahoma didn't know about this. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Most don't. I mean, because it's that part of history that is hidden. And I have a good friend that says, if it's hysterical, then it's historical. So you see a lot of outrage happening in this segment of society, where some people are saying, why are they so angry? Things are different. But it's because of history, and it's that lack of history that's being told, or the correct perspective of history is being told, that is causing so much trauma. This kind of side note, this whole COVID thing is even though the disease itself, this virus itself, is coming from the outside, we have so much viruses on the inside, and that's trauma, that's undealt with things that we had in our life, and it's just surfacing in the form of COVID or other types of viruses like that. But it's so similarly, taking Miss Greenwood into account and seeing what's happening, there's no wonder why there are protests, there are riots. Unfortunately, these riots, if research is done, it's not even Black people are contributing to the mass cause of like the damage, but it's done under the BLM name. So you have so many things happening on the surface, but it's caused from what's beneath the surface. And so what I do on Greenwood is with my staff and my other businesses that I have on Greenwood, I try to set a really good example of what a good business looks like, what a productive, an efficient, a healthy business, what a healthy culture looks like. So that's my contribution. I'm really big into yoga and meditation, and there's and the philosophy behind it. And there's a book called the Bhagavad Gita, and in the Bhagavad Gita is it's a battle. It's a battle. The conversation is happening on the battlefield between Krishna and Arjuna, and Krishna tells Arjuna that whatever action a great man performed, common men follow. And whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, the whole world pursues. So I think about myself, how can I set a standard? How can I act in such a way that others want to follow in those footsteps and be a productive human to honor their ancestors and things of that nature. So sorry, I just went off on a tangent, but hopefully that helps.
No, of course, man. When you look at sort of this movement and everything that's happened recently, just the social justice movements and such, you sort of see it, and like you said, on the surface, when you see some of the riots, some of the protests, it's an angry thing, and rightfully so. But when you say that you do yoga and you partake in stuff like that, does that almost keep you serene during some of these trying times?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely good to have a base, some type of foundation that keeps you sane. I remember, was it 2-3 months ago? There was a protest on the bridge, and I happened to be part of that protest. And it was very peaceful. The bridge was shut down for, I think, the city gave the protesters maybe an hour, but there was an allotted amount of time that was given, and everything was very peaceful. The helicopters were flying around, I guess, just to get footage, and I was in the front of the crowd with some friends of mine, some of my yoga friends, and maybe after 20 minutes I hear screaming in the background, and I turn around and I see this truck barreling through the crowd, and so I grab my friends and I'm pretty much carrying them out of the road as people are getting ran over, and this is on the bridge on overpass, I think it's called, and so as the crowd is kind of separating, like the sea, like Moses, the crowd's kind of separating, to get allow this truck through, but also to see what's going on, with the driver, what is he doing, trying to get the driver out of the car, and try to stop them. People were literally being pushed or jumping off the bridge so that they didn't get run over. And I can tell you, it was very humbling. It was very shocking also, simultaneously, to see that such a act of cowardice, such an act of impatience, whatever the reason was, this was happening all over. And I was able to use my knowledge of yoga and meditation to understand that this person's going to reap the seeds or the karma that they're sowing, and also simultaneously, this is a good chance to understand that we as individuals, we have to be mindful of what the real goal of life is, and the real goal of life is connecting with divinity, even through others. And so I had to see the other person that was in the car as part and parcel, or a spirit that is going through a lot of trauma. Because you have to have so much trauma in your heart, your mind, to want to run people over and potentially kill them. Like that's only someone that can have that can do something like that. But as a yoga practitioner in Bhakti yoga, I realized that this is the right way to look at it. To know, one, this person is going to experience this karma sooner or later, and two, this person is hurting, and this is the outcome of the hurt.
Keith, how do you do that? I mean, I want to paint this picture once again. You know what I mean? Once you're in a moment like this, like you see, I remember this story was on national news sites too, because I remember when this had happened, and you're in this moment, you're in the heat of that moment, and was there sort of a like just you got in the zone and sort of in this mindset that you so graciously have really, and how hard is it for you? Sincerely. How difficult is it to sort of like, I guess, see him as a spirit, you know?
Yeah. So originally, I am human. So sometimes there are moments in which anger gets a hold of me, and so at that time I was angry because I was thinking if I didn't have my friends next to me, I would have been worried that maybe they would have been under his tires, you know. And at that moment, I was thinking, like, if that was anybody that I loved, I would have killed him. I would like if I had the ability to. If they would have ran over my mother, or my friend, or my significant other, and I had the ability to, I would have ended them. You know, in the second. This was my initial thought, and then after a couple hours, still in fear, still in like bewildered, I realized that there's more at play than what's being seen. And so then the understanding of my yoga training, really took effect.
Of course, yeah, and it definitely seems like you had a good control over that situation. Kudos to you, honestly, for that, for being able to sort of separate yourself from that, you know.
Yeah.
And now, so you and I have been talking for 17 minutes, Keith, and I haven't asked you a single thing about your business there on Greenwood, and I want to know about this. So, sort of, what's it like does it give you a certain pride to have a business in Greenwood? I know you talked about before how a song you used to jam out to, you found out that the song was about a massacre that happened there 100 years ago, and sort of in a recent, I guess, reignition of the Black Lives Matter movement and things like that. Does it give you a certain pride to be able to run a business in Greenwood?
So I am definitely proud to have a business in Greenwood. Since I've been here, I've seen some business come and some go. So my pride is having a sustainable, healthy, strong, duplicatable business on Greenwood, because I was getting interviewed some time ago, and this was LeBron James doing like this documentary on Greenwood, and one of his producer asked, what would you tell other entrepreneurs, minority entrepreneurs that want to come to Greenwood? And I simply said, come if you have the track record of success, because this place is already established. This almost 100 years ago, there were a lot of millionaires and successful individuals, and so my feeling towards that is I'm proud to have a business, but I'm even prouder to have a sustainable, efficient, well-ran, and working on running even better business. So yeah.
Definitely, yeah, and sort of like just getting into some of the specifics of your business, Farmers Insurance. I guess like this is sort of an off-topic question, but what is the hardest sort of insurance to sell from your perspective?
Life insurance. Because people, this goes back to yoga, people, I'll give you another story, another quick example. So there was a conversation between two monks, and one monk asked the other monk, he said, what's the amazingest, I don't know if that's the word, amazing, the most amazing thing you've ever heard or you ever seen with your eyes? And the other saint or yogi thought about it. He said the most amazing thing is to see is to watch a person see their pet pass, their grandmother pass, their mother pass, their other relative pass, but they think they won't die. And so he said this is the most amazing thing that they've seen or they've understood. So similarly, as an insurance agent, selling life insurance is somewhat difficult because people don't like to think about the topic. They don't think that it's going to happen. So therefore, if you hide your head in the sand long enough, then everything, you don't have to worry about it. So.
Yeah, of course. I mean, a lot of people have to come to grips with that. And now, last question I have for you, Keith. So just going back to Greenwood, and what sort of right now, as it stands right now in the year 2020, in October, do you think of the current situation there in Greenwood, right? And sort of, do you think that there's one particular thing, whether it's maybe, I know Ty Walker, a guy over there, had a pretty successful mayor campaign. Obviously didn't end up the way he wanted to, but just things like that. Do you think that a change in leadership is needed, or what do you think could make Greenwood, I guess, going better in the right direction?
Good question. Yeah. So for Greenwood to go in a better direction, the entire Greenwood Chamber of Commerce will have to restructure. The chamber that is currently running Greenwood is there are not enough individuals that have enough business experience. There are pastors on the board, and unfortunately, you need business owners. You don't need pastors on the board. You don't need people that have doctorates and things that aren't suitable for running a business. So there should be a restructuring. And I'm not saying I'm gonna do some type of. I'm not going to sabotage anything, but sooner or later, I mean, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I can't control it. No person can control it. At least whatever's destiny. However, in order to change, the leadership has to change. So I don't see myself ever being part of the chamber. Not because I don't want to, not because they haven't asked me necessarily, but I don't want to be I don't want to associate with who's on the board right now, because my name means a lot, and I don't want to be dragged through whatever mud that's currently, there.
Right, man. That makes total sense. Just got to get some business perspectives in there for sure. Well, Keith, thank you so much for your time today. I sincerely appreciate this a ton. Your perspective on yoga and everything else was just fascinating. And God bless you, man, and have a great day.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate your time.
You got it, man. Talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
Greenwood Here and Now is produced by the O'Collie Media Group. Thank you for listening.